You people don't belong in this community and have no right to celebrate here." The white woman, Evelyn Hargrove's voice sliced through the festive air like a sudden chill disrupting a warm gathering. "I don't care what questionable means funded this mansion." The man she targeted stood unmoved, his formal suit torn and dusted with confetti remnants, a symbol of joy turned to turmoil. Behind him, the remnants of what should have been a blissful union. Scattered in disarray, flipped banquet setups, shredded banners, and stunned attendees clustered in disbelief. But Theodore Langston's tone stayed composed, a glint in his eye, hinting at an unseen advantage. "Ma'am," he stated firmly, "you might want to rethink that alert." Yet Evelyn was consumed by fury, her features contorted as she dialed frantically. "I'm notifying the authorities immediately," she bellowed. "They'll haul you and your suspicious crowd away where you fit." She connected her plea dramatic and frantic emergency. "There's a suspicious assembly next door. They're menacing me, possibly armed. Dispatch all agents," as alarms blared afar. Theodore's expression held a subtle assurance, a quiet smirk betraying knowledge. Evelyn lacked. She was oblivious to her grave error, unaware of his true identity. The arrival of authorities would alter fates, not merely hers, but all observers. If captivated by this turnaround, subscribe. Now you won't want the sequel to slip by. And if you champion equality, for all comment equality and your location, expect an uplifting reply from our channel. To grasp how a serene matrimonial event spiraled into havoc and bias, we rewind to its roots. Months prior, Theodore Langston was simply a devoted partner, orchestrating an ideal nuptial. With his beloved at 35, Theodore had ascended to heights many aspire to: state governor. Yet on that bright weekend, as he unloaded boxes into his elegant Willow Grove residence, he appeared ordinary sans entourage or pomp. Theodore shunned the official residence, opting for modesty over display, a trait from his upbringing as offspring of a factory assembler and a community organizer in modest Willowbrook. His ascent stemmed from scholarships, perseverance, and a conviction that gouvernance meant aiding citizens, not chasing accolades. His betrothed, Serena Vale, matched his caliber at 31. She excelled as a cardiologist, her path forged from simple origins. Her mother, a dedicated nurse's aide, had scrimped to fuel Serena's ambitions. Serena funded her studies via grants and side gigs, always mindful of her foundations. Both craved seclusion from public glare, acquiring their Willow Grove abode with earned savings for tranquility in matrimony. Their vision a cozy ceremony, at home, encircled by kin and allies. Distant from political frenzy, however, Willow Grove's elite weren't all welcoming. Evelyn Hargrove occupied the adjacent estate inherited with her floundering real estate venture at 62. Evelyn grappled with Hargrove. Properties declined, contracts evaporating, teetering on insolvency, unless fortunes reversed her salvation. An impending session with Governor Langston for a lucrative urban renewal bid, worth fortunes pivotal for revival. The twist was poignant. Evelyn knew the governor only by title, her beacon amid despair, spotting the prosperous duo settling in evoked shadows within her. They exuded affluence, accomplishment, and bliss, contrasts to her unraveling existence. Initial reaction, not hospitality but bitterness. Their inaugural encounter unfolded on a calm evening, as Evelyn observed Theodore and Serena tending their yard, their mirth echoing their contentment gnawed at her. She approached with a basket of fruits, her grin superficial greetings to Willow Grove. She uttered coolly, "I'm Evelyn, Hargrove resident for decades. We uphold specific norms here." Theodore, diplomatic as ever, offered a handshake. "Appreciated, Miss Hargrove." "Theodore here with my fiancée Serena," thrilled to integrate, yet Evelyn's scrutiny intensified, noting their luxury vehicle, refined attire, evident prosperity. Her facade strained. "Your professions?" she probed, laced with presumption. "Public administration for me," Theodore answered plainly. "Serena's a cardiologist." Evelyn's mask slipped, concealing chagrin. These weren't dismissible. They were polished, thriving, equals. Thenceforth Evelyn fixated, surveilling from afar, logging arrivals, resentment swelling at their perceived audacity to her. They paraded achievements, intruding on her domain as nuptial setups. Commenced vendors appearing. Evelyn's grievances to the association surged. Each van dubious, each consultation intrusive. Every shared chuckle a disturbance. "They're altering our enclave's essence," she lamented widely. "Values will tumble." Meanwhile, Theodore and Serena focused on their union, aiming for elegance and intimacy, honoring bonds amid cherished ones, unaware their serenity fueled Evelyn's ire. As her enterprise teetered, dependency on the governor's nod intensified. Without this bid, ruin looms. She confided to aides, strained, decades invested, hinging on Governor Langston, ignorant that her target was her potential rescuer, whose festivities she neared sabotaging. Profoundly ever seen. Bias rebound spectacularly. Share below. Subscribe for escalation. The origins of Evelyn's envy ran deep-rooted in a family legacy of real estate dominance that had once positioned the Hargroves as pillars in Willow Grove. Her grandfather had built the firm from scratch, navigating post-war booms to establish a name synonymous with luxury developments, but market shifts, economic downturns, and competition from innovative startups had eroded that foundation, leaving Evelyn to inherit a shadow of its former glory. She spent sleepless nights poring over financial ledgers, watching as bids were lost to firms with fresher approaches. Her isolation compounded this. As friends drifted away amid her growing bitterness, conversations at local gatherings turned awkward when she vented about changing demographics in the area, masking her fears of irrelevance with complaints about standards. Meanwhile, Theodore's journey exemplified the very progress she resented. Rising from Willowbrook, where community ties fostered his early interest in public service, he volunteered at local centers, organizing drives for resources that transformed lives. His scholarships to prestigious institutions were hard-won through essays detailing visions for equitable policies. As governor, he implemented reforms aiding underserved regions. Ironic given Evelyn's plight, which could benefit from his urban renewal initiatives, yet her prejudice blinded her to potential alliances. Serena's story paralleled Theodore's. Her mother's tireless shifts in healthcare inspired her pursuit of cardiology, where she pioneered techniques saving countless hearts across diverse populations. Her humility shone in pro bono clinics serving low-income families, a commitment that grounded her amid success. Their home purchase in Willow Grove was a milestone, celebrated quietly with family toasts reflecting on paths from modesty to stability. But Evelyn's whispers began subtly. Anonymous notes slipped under doors, questioning the new residents' fit social snubs at neighborhood events, where invitations mysteriously bypassed their mailbox, and online reviews fabricated under aliases, tarnishing vendors associated with their plans. These acts stemmed from her internal turmoil, a mix of envy at their evident happiness and fear that their presence signaled the end of her perceived exclusivity. Neighborhood dynamics shifted as some residents echoed her sentiments in hushed tones, forming cliques that excluded the couple, while others offered tentative welcomes, sensing the unfairness but hesitant to confront Evelyn's long-standing influence. Theodore noticed the undercurrents during evening walks with Serena, discussing how subtle exclusions mirrored broader societal challenges, yet his resolve strengthened, viewing it as opportunity to model inclusivity. Serena confided her concerns over tea with her mother, who reminded her of similar barriers overcome in her career, urging persistence. Evelyn's business woes amplified her fixation. A lost contract to a minority-owned firm fueled rants to her dwindling staff about unfair advantages, ignoring her own outdated strategies. Her upcoming pitch to the governor became an obsession, rehearsing presentations that highlighted her firm's history while downplaying recent failures, unaware that the man she pinned hopes on was enduring her veiled hostilities. The envy whispered through daily routines, Evelyn peering through curtains at family gatherings in their yard, interpreting laughter as mockery of her solitude. Her attempts to rally the association fell flat as evidence of bias surfaced, leading to awkward meetings where her complaints were tabled. Theodore's diplomatic outreach to neighbors bore fruit, forging alliances that isolated Evelyn. Further, her sabotage evolved from whispers to interference, like alerting code enforcement on minor yard changes, claiming violations that delayed preparations, all while her firm's creditors loomed larger. The contrast between the couple's budding joy and her descending spiral deepened, envy a silent force propelling toward confrontation. Yet, in quieter moments, Evelyn glimpsed her reflection, questioning the bitterness, but pride suppressed such introspection. Theodore's policies, meanwhile, garnered praise for fostering community growth programs that could revive firms like hers, if only bias didn't obstruct vision. Serena's breakthroughs in medicine earned accolades, including awards for inclusive care practices that served all demographics. Her humility in interviews emphasized teamwork over individual glory, inspiring young professionals from similar backgrounds Their wedding plans symbolized unity, inviting a diverse guest list that celebrated cultural blends. Evelyn's resentment peaked at vendor sightings, imagining extravagance funded by undeserved means. Her calls to associations painted the event as disruptive, ignoring its private nature. The whispers of envy thus wove a web of tension, setting the stage for overt actions. As her desperation mounted, the bid's approval seemed her only lifeline, oblivious to the irony that her actions jeopardized it profoundly. The neighborhood's underbelly revealed fractures where unity could flourish, but prejudice hindered whispers, echoing unheeded warnings of impending fallout. Evelyn's solitude bred a further isolation, her evenings spent scrolling news of successful ventures, envying the ease she perceived in others' paths. Theodore and Serena's quiet evenings contrasted, filled with plans for a future home that included community involvement, perhaps even local initiatives to bridge divides. Her mother's visits brought stories of perseverance, reminding Serena that barriers were surmountable with grace. Evelyn's family history, once proud, now burdened her with expectations she couldn't meet. Her grandfather's tales of building empires from nothing clashed with her realities of decline, fueling a narrative of victimhood against newcomers. The envy manifested in small cruelties like excluding them from community alerts or spreading rumors at gatherings. These acts chipped at the couple's peace but strengthened their bond. Theodore, reflecting on his gubernatorial oath to serve all, pondered how personal encounters tested that vow. Serena's patience, gratitude reinforced her commitment to empathy, even toward adversaries. The chapter of whispers thus layered foundations of character and conflict, where envy simmered beneath surfaces, threatening to boil over into shadows of sabotage. The narrative's depth lay in these internal echoes, each whisper a thread in the tapestry of human frailty and potential for growth. As the story unfolded, the whispers hinted at louder reckonings ahead, where actions would speak volumes beyond silent resentments. Evelyn's business calls grew frantic, seeking extensions on debts while eyeing the governor's schedule as salvation. Theodore's reforms quietly aided similar enterprises, underscoring missed opportunities. Serena's research grants supported diverse teams, mirroring the inclusivity Evelyn rejected. The neighborhood's seasonal events proceeded without the couple's full inclusion, whispers circulating of their otherness. Yet some residents reached out privately, offering support that chipped at Evelyn's influence. The envy thus not only isolated her but began eroding her, standing whispers turning against the whisperer in subtle ways. The origins painted a portrait of contrast, where success bred resentment but resilience promised transcendence. Expanding on Evelyn's legacy, the firm's past projects had shaped Willow Grove skyline grand estates that symbolized exclusivity. Now her inability to adapt to inclusive developments left her sidelined. Theodore's vision for urban renewal aimed at blending communities, a policy that could revitalize her operations if Prejudice allowed. Serena's cardiology work extended to outreach programs in Willowbrook, inspiring youth toward STEM fields. Her humility in crediting mentors echoed Theodore's approach to leadership. The home's interior reflected their tastes, a blend of modern and cultural artifacts symbolizing heritage and progress. Evelyn's estate, by contrast, gathered dust relics of past glories, untouched amid her fixation. Whispers from staff hinted at jumping ship, sensing the firm's doom. Her envy blinded her to internal fixes like modernizing strategies, instead projecting failures onto the newcomers. The chapter delved into these nuances, ensuring a rich prelude to intensifying shadows where sabotage would cast longer echoes. The shadows narratives flow, immersed in origins, inviting reflection on envy's roots and the power of perseverance against it. Theodore's quiet confidence stemmed from trials overcome, scholarships won through advocacy essays that championed equality. Serena's steadiness from operating rooms where calm saved lives. Evelyn's turmoil from boardrooms where losses mounted unchecked. The whispers thus set a symphony of contrasts, building toward crescendos of confrontation and eventual renewal. In this intricate web, the story's heart beat with human complexity, where envy whispered but hope endured. The lead-up to Theodore and Serena's vows ought to brim with anticipation. Instead, Evelyn orchestrated a siege of subtle disruptions. It commenced with a de Corvan's arrival. Evelyn intercepted feigning authority, misplaced delivery for such folk. She sneered to the baffled crew and persisted, her tone sharpened error. Evident they don't align here. But escalation followed. She phoned suppliers, weaving deceptions regarding the affair at 312 Willow Grove she'd lament falsely cancelled amid investigations unsafe for teams confusion mounted delaying bliss for Theodore and Serena. Noise grievances obsessed her each test or tune prompted calls to officials violating tranquility she'd claim not a festival ground worst. Accosting kin. Serena's aunt aiding setups faced blockade learned decorum. Evelyn hissed, "This isn't yours." Theodore's cousin from afar met derision. Strayed aid housing elsewhere. Theodore's poise held, "We claim our space," he affirmed to Serena amid strain earned unyielding to spite. Yet Serena wavered, the unwelcome vibe eroding. Perhaps urban stay. Wiser, she murmured tearfully. Theodore reassured, "Our entitlement stands no flight from bias." Vandalism ensued, covertly street displays, ruined, nightly blooms uprooted. Signs defaced, yard littered with debris tainting the venue, heart-wrenching. Serena's uncle traveled far, confronted, harshly returned, whence Evelyn raged. Shaken, he needed aid inside planner. Lila Voss chronicled, all appalled after the Maris's bees. Years in trade, this frenzy demands action. Theodore demurred, "No fuel to fire, our day prevails." Neighbors divided, some appalled silently, others complicit quietly alone. Theodore pondered, serve all even foes but personal venom. Unforeseen dawn of union, bright resolve firm despite trials. Evelyn struck early, ravaging setups at dawn arrangements. Strewn emblems snapped. Lila arrived to mayhem, confronting cease trespassing crime. Evelyn retorted, "My turf." No degradation allowed, guests arriving, diversity fueling her boil. Right commenced. Gracefully vows under surviving arch, serenity shattered by Evelyn's yells. Respectable zone, relocate your throng. Intrusion, peaked fence, breached reception, stormed tables, toppled feast, ruined cake, demolished slurs, vile shielding young. Years. You, intruders. Funded dubiously. Restraint attempted, but Evelyn unhinged. Then the fateful dial to authorities amid wreckage, the shadows of sabotage deepened in ways that pierced beyond the surface, delving into Evelyn's fracturing psyche, where each act of interference served as a balm for her unraveling confidence. Her business, Hargrove Properties, once a beacon of upscale dealings, now shadowed by foreclosures and lost listings. She replayed board meetings in her mind where partners questioned her vision, her responses, sharp defending traditions against modern inclusivity that she viewed as dilution, yet inwardly doubt crept in whispers of irrelevance that mirrored her isolation at home, evenings alone with ledgers read with deficits fueling paranoia. That newcomers like Theodore and Serena represented the tide turning against her kind. Her sabotage thus became a psychological armor. Anonymous complaints to city halls, alleging permit lapses for the couple's event, fake reviews online. Decrying vendors as unreliable, tying them to the address to sow distrust, all while her mind raced with justifications they flaunt. Without merit, she muttered to empty rooms, ignoring her own stagnation. Theodore's internal world contrasted, a governor accustomed to legislative battles now facing personal skirmishes that tested his resolve. He confided in late-night talks with Serena how these shadows echoed policy fights where opposition stemmed from fear of change. His reforms for urban renewal, aimed at revitalizing areas like those his parents knew, fostering economic bridges. Yet here in Willow Grove, the sabotage highlighted how policy ideals clashed with neighborhood realities. Serena's psyche bore the strain. Her cardiology practice demanded focus on life-saving precision, but the constant disruptions invaded her thoughts during surgeries, where steady hands were paramount. She drew strength from patient stories of overcoming odds, much like her own rise from modest means. Her past mother's encouragement over phone calls reminded her that shadows pass with perseverance, but the emotional toll manifested in quiet moments, tears over delayed deliveries that symbolized broader unwelcome. The planner Leela grappled with ethical dilemmas, her trade built on creating joy. Now shadowed by conflict, she documented incidents not just for records but as a moral compass, debating intervention with authorities, yet respecting Theodore's wish for de-escalation. Her own backstory of building her business from scratch paralleled the couple's, earning her empathy. Amid the sabotage, neighbors' psyches fractured too. Some, like the elderly across the street, harbored guilt, witnessing snubs but feared Evelyn's long-standing clout. Others, recruited subtly by her whispers, spread rumors at coffee meets, straining community ties. Theodore's cousin, arriving early, sensed the tension, sharing stories of similar challenges in his career. bolstering family resolve. Serena's aunt, a retired educator, turned the proscent, sabotage, into teachable moments. For younger kin emphasizing resilience, the shadows thus wove through relational strains, testing bonds and revealing characters. Evelyn's calls to suppliers escalated to impersonations, claiming event postponements causing cancellations that Lila scrambled to replace her mind, justifying as protection of community standards while ignoring her firm's need for similar reinvention. Theodore's team, unaware of the personal shadows, handled state affairs, including the upcoming bid reviews where Hargrove's proposals sat, among others, his impartiality. A hallmark now personally challenged Serena's colleagues offered support, noticing her distraction arranging coverage for shifts to allow wedding focus. The sabotage's psychological warfare included Evelyn's recruitment of allies, anonymous emails to association members, decrying the event as extravagant and divisive sewing division that rippled through social circles. Some residents distanced themselves, invitations withdrawn, while others defended in private notes, slipping encouragement under doors. The emotional layers deepened with each incident. Evelyn's satisfaction fleeting, replaced by deeper voids, her psyche unraveling in solitude, questioning if her actions stemmed from protection or projection of failures. Theodore's reflections during jogs centered on leadership's personal cost, pondering how to extend grace. Amid provocation, Serena's journal entries captured the strained poetic descriptions of shadow encroaching on light, yet ending with affirmations of love's endurance. Lila's dilemmas peaked when a vendor backed out, citing threats she traced to Evelyn, debating confrontation but opting for evidence gathering. The family's strains included Serena's uncle, shaken but resolute, sharing tales of past adversities that fortified the group. The shadows of sabotage, thus not mere actions but mirrors to inner worlds where turmoil brewed and resilience shone, ensuring the narrative's progression delved into psyches. Without repeating origins, the call to authorities loomed as climax, but the build-up's richness lay in these mental mazes. Evelyn's hysteria in the call stemmed from a breaking point, her business calls that day rejecting extensions, amplifying desperation. Her whispers to self during the act, "This will end it," ignoring the self-sabotage inherent. Theodore's calm amid chaos drew from gubernatorial crises, where poise turned tides. Serena's steadiness from operating theaters where focus saved lives. The planner's resolve from past challenging events where creativity overcame obstacles. Neighbors' internal debates whether to intervene or observe added tension, some regretting silence, others justifying inaction. The cousins' documentation on phone captured not just events, but emotional undercurrents. Family huddles amid disruptions fostered unity, turning sabotage into bonding. The uncle's shaken state prompted reflections on generational progress, emphasizing the need to persevere. Evelyn's recruitment efforts faltered as allies wavered, sensing her instability, whispers turning to concerns about her well-being. Yet bias persisted in pockets. The emotional toll on Serena manifested in dreams of flawless ceremonies shattered. By shadows awakening to renewed determination, Theodore's psyche balanced governance duties with personal defense, viewing the sabotage as a microcosm of state challenges. The chapter thus explored shadows through lenses of mind and relation, ensuring fresh engagement with depths of human experience. As the invasion unfolded, the psyches converged in a storm of confrontation. Evelyn's unhinged state during the breach, a culmination of internal fractures, her yells not just disruptions but cries from a crumbling self. Theodore's restraint, a testament to inner strength. Serena's tears, a release of pent strain. Lila's calls for halt, a stand for ethics. The family's protective circle, a shield of solidarity. Neighbors' peeks from windows, a mix of curiosity and shame. Call to authorities, her final gambit born from a psyche convinced of righteousness, yet teetering on delusion. The shadows thus cast long, revealing not just acts, but the minds behind them, paving for echoes of renewal where light could pierce through. Evelyn amid chaos fabricating to authorities. Terror plot unfolding, armed threats. Neighborhood peril, urgency, explosive, suspected hurry. Malice profound, framing joy as menace. Theodore shielded kin, calm amid fear, safety, first resolution nears. Serena mourned. Ruins, gown, soiled dreams, tainted her mother, sacrificed for her rise, raged inwardly. Decades here, evil unmatched cousin filmed discreetly, wary of escalation, planner despaired at malice, neighbors emerged, varied reactions. Haunting units arrived, geared for threat, baffled by festivity, remnants lead. Agent Harlan puzzled, celebration not crisis. Evelyn dramatized, saved me, arrest the plotters, skepticism grew, no peril evident. Theodore advanced, poised, misconception here, recognition dawned. Governor Langston's shock rippled alerts, confirmed Evelyn confused. Then, horrified, the endorser. Breakdown contract, legacy, lost arrest, false alert, hate offenses, media storm, viral clips, firm implosion, Theodore's grace, reduced charges. Mandate service, Evelyn's shift. Via center work mentoring. Diverse entrepreneurs' successes helped startups thrive. Bonds formed, hearing testimonies. Affirmed change anniversary, inclusive. Evelyn integrated renewal echoes. Hope in transformation, the echoes of renewal resonated. Far beyond the immediate fallout, transforming a tale of disruption into one of profound societal mending, where the unmasking served as a catalyst for broader dialogues on accountability and growth. Agent Harlan's initial confusion morphed into swift action. Coordinating with state officials to verify Theodore's identity, the radio chatter buzzed with urgency as realizations cascaded through channels dispatch. This is unprecedented. The governor's own event flagged as threat. Agents' postures shifted from alert to apologetic, hands easing from gear. As apologies flowed, "Sir, we had no indication this was fabricated." The scene's documentation ensued, photos of scattered confetti mingled with formal wear. Elderly kin, in elegant attire, clutching each other. Children wide-eyed at the spectacle, all contrasting Evelyn's claims. Her hysteria peaked as cuffs secured her wrists, the weight of her deceptions crashing down in sobs of denial. I was safeguarding the area they seemed off ignoring. The self-inflicted wound of her bias, media descended like a swarm, satellite vans lining curbs, reporters thrusting mics for sound bites. The viral surge amplified clips of her intrusion, spliced with the revelation trending under hashtags like bias backfire and Governorgate. Global outlets picked up the story, from European networks debating American suburb dynamics to Asian forums analyzing entitlements fall. Evelyn's firm Hargrove Properties faced immediate boycott calls, clients withdrawing listings, suppliers severing ties. The board convened emergently, voting her removal to salvage remnants. Stock values plummeted, investors fleeing amid ethical scrutiny. The fallout extended to legal arenas, charges mounting, false emergency report. Endangerment through deception, property damage, and enhanced for discriminatory intent. Her bail hearing drew crowds, protesters outside, chanting for justice, while supporters, scarce her attorney's pleas for leniency, fell flat amid overwhelming evidence, witnesses from Platons. The event recounting her tirades and affidavits. Theodore's statement to press measured and forward-looking. This incident underscores the need for community unity over division. His grace shone in advocating reduced penalties, contingent on restorative efforts. Your Honor, he addressed the bench. Miss Hargrove's actions stemmed from misconceptions that service can dispel, mandate immersion in diverse settings to foster understanding. The courtroom hushed at his mercy a man whose union was marred, offering olive branches. Evelyn's initial resistance in detention softened as isolation prompted reflection. Her first days in holding mirrored her psyche's shadows. Regrets whispering of missed chances, the sentence community, service at the Harmony Hub, a multicultural center in the city's vibrant core. Her arrival, tentative, clutching orders, fighting urges to flee. Yet the hub's director, Rev Maya Lin, extended cautious welcome. "We'll monitor progress, but growth requires effort." Those initial tasks, humble cleaning halls, organizing supplies, interacting with patrons from varied walks, shattered her preconceptions. The center buzzed with programs from coding classes for youth to entrepreneurial workshops for adults. No chaos, but organized ambition. Her mentees assigned. After probationary weeks included Jamal Reyes, a 28-year-old aspiring developer whose app for community resources needed business polish. Evelyn drew from her real estate acumen, teaching, market analysis, funding pitches, ignoring initial awkwardness as trust built his launch. Success a joint triumph, employing locals in tech roles. Her next guidance to Lila Chen, a baker blending Asian fusions for a startup. Evelyn navigated regulations, supplier networks her own. The firm's past pitfalls serving as lessons, The irony poignant, the woman once barring entry. Now opening doors. Destiny Brooks, a young designer seeking fashion venture funding, challenged Evelyn deepest. Why aid after your views? Destiny probed Evelyn's response raw, I harbored narrow outlooks, but exposure reveals shared aspirations. Your drive mirrors what I once had, let's channel it productively. Their collaboration yielded a line celebrating cultural motifs, gaining boutique placements, the echoes amplified. As mentees' successes rippled Jamal's app-connected services aiding renewal projects akin to Theodore's policies. Lila's Bakery became a hub for cross-cultural events. Destiny's designs featured in local shows promoting diversity. Evelyn's testimonies at review painted redemption's portrait. Revlin affirmed her evolution from reluctant to invested. The judge, moved by progress, approved charge reductions, restoring bid eligibility, starting small with community builds. Theodore's quiet attendance nodded approval. Evelyn's path forward included advocacy, speaking at forums on biases costs. Her firm rebranded with inclusive focus, partnering diverse teams. The anniversary barbecue symbolized harmony, guests mingling across lines. Evelyn assisting with setups, chatting freely with kin. Once targeted Serena's warmth, you turned shadows to light. Evelyn's gratitude profound. Your compassion sparked my renewal. The echoes extended globally, stories, inspiring reforms like European inclusivity trainings, Asian corporate diversity mandates, African community hubs modeled after harmony. The narrative's uplift lay in these visions where renewal echoed eternally. Mentorship chains formed, Jamal guiding newcomers, Lila hosting workshops, Destiny mentoring youth, Theodore's policies bolstered incorporating restorative elements. Serena's practice expanded outreach programs. Evelyn's reflections in journals chronicled growth from envy to empathy. Her firm's revival through ethical bids echoed the theme. Actions mend what words fracture. The chapter's breadth encompassed healing's waves from personal arcs to societal shifts, ensuring dynamic closure, captivating with hope's enduring resonance. Anecdotes of emulated grace surfaced, a Tokyo executive adopting similar mercy and disputes, a Nairobi leader fostering cross-tribal ventures inspired by the tale. Future visions included collaborative platforms linking mentors across borders. Evelyn's initiative spearheading virtual exchanges. Anniversaries laughter, a testament to transformation where former divides became bridges of understanding. The story thus culminated in echoes that promised continued renewal, a symphony of change where each note of grace amplified into harmonious futures.